Hello, Jaime from Inky&Scrappy back with my Get Creepy on Halloween, August 2024. Back to life. So I picked up some Recollections Halloween, the Midnight Specialty Pack from Michaels, bringing in some Avery removable adhesive sheets, the zombie from the Big and Bold Color Art Craft Company collection, and some Ohuhu marker paper. I like to actually ink blend my oxides on it, not so much. It works okay for alcohol marker blending. It's just not my preferred. Anyways, I die cut some of that, I don't know, it's like a purple foiled star background paper. I die cut out an extra chunk because I only need a little bit of the outside to show, and then I did my coffee wrap from it. So I'm also bringing in a mini coffee cup die. I don't know the branding on that one. Anyways, so I'm kind of placing it. So I cut my piece of paper as by 5 by 7 because it's going to be a large card, obviously. And so I know I'm going to come back in and trim it down a little bit because obviously I want that border of that foiled paper behind. But I like to start with the bigger size because then I can kind of shift where my focal point might be. So if it's not quite centered or where I quite want it, I can always get it there with a little bit of trimming. So I did stamp this in some Versa Fine Onyx Black ink, and I'm going to heat set some clear embossing powder on or over the top of it. This is going to work for 2 reasons. It's going to make that black stay black. When you ink blend with oxides, it kind of leaves like a white haze over your black ink. So either you can re-put your stamped image back into your stamp platform and re-stamp it, or you can do the heat embossing with the glaze or the clear gloss, clear embossing powder, and it'll keep that black color. You just have to buff off the top a little bit. So sometimes I do it the one way and sometimes I do it the other. And then I messed up my double stamp or my stamping. So for this one, I did stamp this one with just the close to my heart black ink. And then I came out with my pencil and tried to fill in the lines. I think I ended up scanning this one into my brother's scan and cut 4 times before I got all of those little lines closed up, because the brother scan and cut will look at any broken line and then it'll want to like trim around everything. I could have hand cut it. It was just faster to use the brother scan and cut for all the little things. Plus it gave me the mask and the negative, right? So I'm using that negative mask here. So I'm just using, the back side of this one, lining it up, and then I just went in with my blending brushes and some oxiding. So I used old paper for my green tone on my zombie hand, and then I brought in pumice stone to add a little bit of gray to it. I'm going to buff off the top here. And then I'm going to come in and kind of try my best to kind of do some masking on the bottom here. So I just kind of want to follow where that straight line looks like on the stamp. I'm going to get a little bit here and there of some overage. I'm not overly worried about it. We'll fix that later on. And then I'm going to peel my mask in parts here. So I want to line it up so it's pretty perfect. It wasn't exact because it didn't exactly cut on the line. It kind of gave me a little bit of shadow on the one side when I pulled the mask off. But I make it work. We just, add a little sparkle. Nobody knows. So for my ink blending on the rest of it here, I'm starting with some mustard seed. I kind of wanted that bright yellow in between there. I messed up. I shouldn't have gone as far. I should have. I'll tell you when I get there. And then Crackling Campfire for my orange. I kind of want it to look like the sunrise, kind of, sort of, the zombies waking up from a sleep. And then, of course, Uncharted Mariner for my deep blue here. I'm thinking, after the card was done, I probably should have gone in with a purple instead of, or at some point brought in a purple to go and kind of coordinate with that purple foil star. It all works out. But so I got that green line, and I had, I was watching a watercolorist, and it's pink. You're supposed to use pink between your orange and your blue, or to get kind of like, you get a purple hue in your sunrise or sunset instead of getting that green. And so, yeah, I messed it up. Ultimately, it turned out okay. It actually looks more purple now after it was dry than it does on screen here. It still has that brownish green tone to it, but it actually did turn purple. So remember to use pink in between your orange or your yellow, orange, blue, whatever, when you're doing sunrises. Yeah, it was kind of a cool tip. I wish I would have remembered it when I was doing it. I did come in with a little bit more yellow towards the bottom to kind of lighten up and give me a little bit more color variation. So I'm just coming in, and then I did Scorched Timber all the way around the outside to kind of give it that ooky squeaky. And I found something new. So this is called Iridescent Medium. It's from Michaels. It's huge. This one was huge. Okay, it's like a acrylic. It's not their watercolor. I've been looking at our Michaels. They don't carry the Winsor Newton Iridescent watercolor medium, and so I was trying to find something that maybe they had. This one is like holy sparkle. I'm not gonna lie, it's so sparkly. So if you're looking for one, this one, you don't have to buy the biggest one. It was just like, I think it was $16 for the huge one, and it was like $10 for the one that was like half the size. And so of course, $6 more for twice the product just made sense to me. Anyways, I have a lot of it. I will be sharing. So I'm just coming in and splattering that. I just watered it down really good. Now I'm going to come in and add a little bit of Black Soot Distress Reinker on this one, and it's going to kind of turn it black. I will definitely be doing this method with that, medium, to get that extra sparklies and shines in multiple different colors. It's like, so good and so awesome. So I don't need to buy any more mica sprays ever. This is going to be it, I think. And then I did come in with my paintbrush and just kind of painted that on where some of those, the rocks and stuff would be flying. And then I'm trying to let it dry. Okay, when I say trying, we all know how good I am at letting things dry. Yeah, that was me. I went and took a shower because it was at night, and came back, peeled it, and then I was like, I need to finish painting. So I came back, peeled it, finished painting. Do you see how I waited for it to dry before I added my mask? I did not. So I added the mask on top, and then I'm going to add in my Scorched Timber again. I will remember that name eventually. I did splat that onto my mat, and then add in, of course, some of that sparkly iridescent medium that I was playing with, and just kind of added some more texture on to the bottom here. I will say, I love how this one came together because it was all ink blending and no actual marker coloring. It came together fairly quickly. Okay, so let's get creepy on Halloween. What's it all about? I will leave the description in the description box below. Anyone is welcome to join in the Get Creeping on Halloween hashtag, either here on YouTube or on Instagram. Eventually, I'll set up a page where we can meet on Facebook, maybe a group. I don't know. It's been in the back of my mind for a while. I just haven't gotten very far with it. Maybe this winter when life gets a little bit less, spazzy. I don't know. Anyways, so I finished my card front there. Now on to my coffee cup. So I'm just using my ink blending tool here to kind of add a little bit of shade onto my coffee cup lid. I'm going to piece those pieces together. Make sure they match a little bit better. And then, of course, I tried to add a little bit onto my foil piece, but I really didn't want to cover up the foil. I wanted that purple to be all good. So I am bringing in an old Stampendous coffee set. I think this one said the copyright of 2013 on it. So it's old, but I love that my blood type is coffee stamp in it. It's probably the reason why I bought the stamp set. Yeah, I know. But I stamped that on top of my coffee mug. Not that you'll even be able to see it after I put my coffee mug together. I know it's there. You know it's there because we watched me put it on there. But that, cup sleeve kind of covers it all up. So this was my, original intention. So I tried to I wanted to put the coffee cup in the zombie's hand. I thought it would be funny. Anyways, I did a similar card to this one that it said beware or need coffee, beware or something like that on it. A 5x7. I have it framed. It's sitting on my coffee bar or above my coffee bar on the shelf because, every zombie, I might be quite kind of a zombie before caffeine in the morning. Just saying. So I tried with the X-Acto knife. I just couldn't get it to cut very well, and so I think it's because it's one of those swivelly ones. I need to get a straight one that doesn't swivel. Anyways, I just brought in my fine cut scissors, my sharp scissors, and cut around it. I made it work. And then once I figure out, where the zombie is holding the mug, I thought about bringing in the larger mug, but I like the littler one. It just is kind of fun. It makes the zombie's hand look a lot bigger. Maybe it's an espresso shot. I mean, it could be. That's what I would drink if I was a zombie. Anyways, because I want to trim it down, I want to trim off a 1/4 inch in total on this. Oh no, I do end up doing a 1/2 inch. So I trim off a 1/2 inch total, so about a 1/4 inch from each side, give or take a little bit. I wanted to center it, so it was fairly good. Now, my biggest biff with the Tim Holtz Guillotine little cutter is that it doesn't have a 6.5 inch mark on it. Drives me nuts. So I brought in my ruler and, measured it that way. So annoying. Anyways, I brought in my background piece here, and then I'm just going to layer this up. Maybe I should have done the purple around the outside instead of the brown. That probably would have tied it in a lot better to the other. Anyway, it's just me hindsight thinking, please tell me I'm not the only one that redoes cards in my head as I'm already doing them. Yes. Anyways, so I will glue that onto my piece of background paper. Yeah, I might have forgotten that there was a hole cut in it and put a, glue on the backside. So once I got it this far, I really needed to think about my sentiment on the front. So I kind of like that for bringing me back to life. And so that's what I ended up doing. So I brought in a piece of scrap cream colored cardstock, stamped the thank you and for bringing me back to life on there with some VersaFine Onyx black ink, and then set that with some clear embossing powder so it matches with my zombie handprint, but also because I planned on ink blending over it to make it go with my ink blended background. I didn't want it to be, I was either going to make it stark white so it went with my coffee cup, or I was going to ink blend it. I voted on the side of the ink blending and just made it work. So I'm kind of, how shall I say, I wanted to kind of ink blend it so it went with where it was going, but I want it to stick out, right? So I'm also going to bring in my mister there that has some of that Winsor & Newton Iridescent watercolor medium mixed with water. Sprayed that on top so it gives a little bit of distress. And I was going to use a straight edge for this one. I just ended up tearing it because I didn't give myself a whole lot of room on the one side for the thank you. So I'm just going to hand tear this one, kind of giving it a rough look all the way around. I need to do tearing more. It's like fun and I don't know, just gives that organic cut feel and yeah. So I'm coming in, I started with the brown and then I thought, nope, I want it to stick out a little bit more. So I'm bringing in that Campfire orange color, Crackling Campfire. There we go. I'll get my colors right eventually. And then I will add those on to my card base here. I did decide to actually pop them up. So when I added after I was done cutting, I did add some foam adhesive behind the zombie thumb. So his thumb is like popped up from the cup. It kind of looks cool in real life. And so just adding in that little bit of foam adhesive on the top to pop that one up as well. And then for the inside, I was like, you know, going over the top. I love doing insides lately. Like, I think it just helps me feel like I finished it. I don't know. Otherwise, I come back later and I'm like, oh, I gotta stamp something on the inside. So for this one, I brought in the zombie hand, and stamped that one in Distress Oxide old paper, and then cleaned that off, pulled that one off, and then, what else am I gonna do on this one? Yeah, I might have had to think for a little bit, but I did bring in the other, my blood type is coffee stamp, because I really, really, really like that one, and you couldn't see it, and so this way I could add it and make it work. And I hadn't decided if I was going to do a second sentiment in this one until, you know, I got this far, and I'm like, I like this one. My blood type is coffee, and then you can make the card like whatever, right? And then I thought, well, it is supposed to be for my Get Creeping on Halloween, so I should really finish it off with a Halloween sentiment. I had also pulled out, like, I wanted the Something Wicked This Way Comes. All of my other Colorado Craft Company Halloween stamps, I love their sentiments. And so, like, their text, the styling, yeah. And so I should have done maybe an orange on that one. So the Witches Hat, or the Witches Broom. The Witches Hat is where I pulled the Halloween from, and then the Something Wicked This Way Comes is from the Lovely Legs on the witch one, I think. Don't quote me on that one. I will list them in the description box if you are interested. So I'm going to bring in that fun new Loft Iridescent acrylic medium again. I pulled a little bit onto a block, and then I added some espresso distress re-inker to it, so it's got a bright, like a nice brown tone to it, and it's sparkly. It's so good. And so I splattered it kind of at a diagonal, trying to just keep it with the zombie hand coming out of, you know, but it just adds a little bit to the inside. So once the inside was dry, I did add it onto my card base, and then, you know, how to take some pictures for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Come and get creeping on Halloween with me. I'm hoping to get into full Halloween mode soon. Bye!